Headland to Deadland. That's interesting. And Valder are playing. Oh, so we've got Valders on both sides. Spacefront in player one and Zeronix in player two.
Oh, who has the better Valder? This is an honor match.
It is. I mean, I was actually looking through the VODs of the either the round of 8 or the round of 16 with Zeronix, and I asked you both about uh having like a Valder and like saying that that was like a pretty important part to being like competitive in this. And Zeronix didn't sound like too thrilled about the idea of having to play like Valder as much. At least that was the impression I got. So
I mean, it's more that I guess it's more that once you get a good Valder, like it means you have, because like Valder is kind of the commander that relies, that's the most like fundamentals heavy, I guess you could say. So like if you're good at Valder, it means you're straight up good at the game.
I can see that, yeah.
Because like the mindset I like to have is uh winning a game because your opponent makes a mistake is like not how you consistently win games. And with Valder, like you work towards consistently winning the game from the beginning to the end. So it's kind of the optimal Wargroove, I guess.
He does seem to be about like getting lots of small advantages, which makes sense. His groove is a kind of rapid fire thing where you use it a lot and it builds the swords, which are, you know, the cheapest unit in the game. And something I'm really interested by is that Zeronix has got a thief, and we don't really see these very often.
Yeah, I think Zeronix is one of the only players that actually go thief on this map. Hmm. Well, I think the thieves are like, this is a map that's not bad for thieves because what often happens is that both armies kind of rotate around the center and sides are being traded. So if you have a thief, you come out on top if that happens. But it's just that uh, people aren't really used to playing with thieves yet, I feel.
Yeah, I mean, something thieves are very good on in this map in particular is because you've got this very vulnerable tower in like the top left and the bottom right, and also the barracks after that. Thieves are really good at taking those.
Yeah, I guess if you want to take a barracks, you kind of need a thief. But like the one behind the HQ is kind of out of the question.
Yeah, but the one to the at the very north and the very south is like more vulnerable, and the tower I think is a lot more vulnerable as well.
Yeah, I guess taking the tower is the first step to taking the barracks, kinda.
Yeah, and actually, even if you don't take the barracks, having 3 towers against your opponent's one is quite useful. It's quite nice to be
Yeah,
able to
it's
build a
also
thief, or not a thief. You could build a witch on either side, and it's actually really helpful. Uh, it's more like circumstantial, like as a play, but
well, it's also like balloons are pretty strong on this map, and like I was saying, you swing a lot around the map often. So if you have an extra tower, that means that you you can like just spawn a balloon there, and then it kind of uh, if you have the tower captured, it's basically giving a mobility options to like if you spawn spears, archers, mages, stuff like that. Because the barracks are pretty far from the fronts, but if you spawn a balloon, suddenly they are well almost at the front. And like if you don't have the tower, it can be quite frustrating. You're like, I really wish I had a balloon, but my balloons are on the other side of the map, and I can't spawn one here.
are we gonna see
Because
Spacefront dive? By the way, It looks like he might just go straight for the opponent's headquarters.
Hmm. I'm thinking he's probably gonna bring Valder back because the balloons are like. The balloons can't be killed by Zeronix right now. And I don't think you can, like. It's a bit of. It's really it's such a complex position on turn 7 already. Like,
Yeah.
this knight is really doing a lot of work because it can basically go back if Valder tries to go for the HQ. But the thing is, Spacefront already started fighting on this side, so now if he brings Valder back, these units are kind of left alone. The mage and the 2 swords. I guess he could, like, put the balloon left of the forest and drop Valder in the forest.
Goes to the village capture. Spacefront taking quite a bit of time. But
Actually, maybe he could put the balloon to the right of the knights and drop Valder to the right. Kind of soft surrounding Zeronix's Valder, and like you're still pressuring the HQ and you're contributing to the defense because Valder can just walk left.
could go for like the ultimate meme play. Put the balloon on the road. Drop a dog next to the knight and like Valder, I guess, to the right on the road so he doesn't get killed, and then you like dog crit the knight just to.
Just because.
Oh, he's just going
Oh,
for it.
okay, that's all in.
I mean, yeah, like if he can do it, then because that is actually a very vulnerable headquarters.
I don't think this push is gonna succeed because the knight and Valder can combine to kill this mage, and then Zeronix can just like spawn a dragon or a harpy or something like that, and
Oh, but here's the thing: there's a follow-up mage coming. Like the mage plus
yeah,
that
I
balloon will get to that
guess.
mountain again. So if he kills the mage on the mountain, he can put another mage right there.
I guess, but then the board state will be different, so I don't know. But yeah, this is looking very like they've been fighting all over the place.
And I mean, it does force Zeronix to go back. Like he can't just leave this army alone. His headquarters will
That's
die in a
true.
turn. There's enough here.
Zeronix not having a mage to push the HQ means he can't go for the base trade, basically, like the base rush. I do think Valder kinda has to go back. The rest of the army can still fight, but maybe not Valder. Although he could like spawn in a dragon, just hit the mage with the knight, and then hope that's enough, I guess.
I don't know. I think Zeronix actually just has to take a bad fight here. Like that's the only way he's gonna like win in quotation marks.
Well, he could go for a kind of a collapse onto the right side, kind of a trapping Spacefront's army there, but looks like he's not gonna go for it.
Okay, I think he's gonna try and steal from that village.
Is he setting up like an HQ heist or something?
No, I don't think he's able to. There's just too much stuff there that would kill him. But I think the village on the left is a decent target for that thief.
Mm. Alright, he does that, yeah. Well, the thing is, if like the small forces on the left are fighting, but Zeronix gets a steal out of it, then he basically comes out on top.
I'm like desperately doing like math in my head to see if there's a lethal here.
Mm. Actually, I think Zondra's gaining a bit surrounded. Yep, there we go.
Oh, okay, he just has to kind of brawl his way out now.
Well, he can like hop in the balloon and escape, but he won't be attacking if he does that.
I think you stand and fight here. Like, he has a balloon that will bring 2 spears to him. So he just needs to clear enough stuff for that to work.
Yeah, I guess you whack the knight with Balder, but you can't go for the HQ anymore. Like, your units are too weak, you don't want to weaken them further by getting counterattacked by the headquarters.
Something that's worth noting here is that Zeronix is like quite a bit far behind on unit count.
Yeah, he's a bit behind. He hasn't built this turn yet.
A witch, dog, probably a second dog just to get to that front.
Yeah, dogs are basically the cheap unit that moves faster than swords. They're also pretty good into Valder because dogs fight swords pretty well. The downside is they attack villages, well, very poorly, but well, Zeronix is Valder and he has a thief, so villages won't really be the problem. So dogs are a good buy here. I like the witch. It's like not committing as hard as making a dragon and skipping 2 builds.
Yeah, and like it adds the hex as well, so
Yep. I think a big important part is also you're pressuring the balloons, so Valder can't like hit something and cover himself with a balloon.
I guess, but he has a lot of balloons, and the witch is only going to pop one of them.
Yep. Well, Zeronix has a mage and a witch now, so
The
it's gonna
second
be
mage
hard
up on
to
the top left.
completely wall.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's good. I don't think Spacefront can completely wall off with his balloons now. Most likely has to retreat, but it's not looking very good for him because he has to defend these villages in the bottom right. Otherwise, he's gonna lose econ pretty soon. He might like take back the top left, but that's not a given. And if you retreat on the bottom right, that means you're gonna give up some econ. So the Zeronix might pull ahead quite heavily in the next few turns. I will say the thief doesn't have a transport to help him get back, so it's gonna take a while before he can steal again.
Yeah, there's no balloon option here. Like, I doubt a wagon's going to come out anytime soon. I actually think that thief might just be screwed.
I think it can walk up towards the tower and then hop into a balloon that just spawns there.
Yeah, I mean, I think if Spacefront hadn't spent so much time, but by this point, I think what you could do is you just pull your army back on the right and just surge forward on the left. And like punish the thief. Because there's very little over here on the right hand side anymore. Or on the left hand side even to like punish stuff. So you could just load double spear up and drop one in the forest next to that 9 village. And then let's like retreat his whole army down on
I
the
think
right
the
side.
most important decision Spacefront has to do this turn is where does he send these 2 spears? Because you could like slowly take back the top left villages with just the 2 swords, the dog and the mage, I think. And like whatever few units you spawn from your barracks. If you send the spears, it will accelerate it. But if you send the spears to the right, then you might have a better chance at like not losing your villages over there.
And,
But do you really? I think at least Valder kinda has to retreat. He could do like some plays, like he goes up to the left and hits the mage and places the balloon to the left, like below the dog, above the 2 village. The witch won't reach. Yeah, he's gonna go for the knight and like spear crit the spear. I mean sword crit the spear.
I think that makes sense.
Yeah, you just do counterattack damage basically. I think we're gonna see the spears be dropped nearby the right front. Like spears fight extremely well into like swords and dogs. As long as they don't, just if you protect your spears a little bit, then they can put in a lot of work.
Right, and this balloon's probably gonna go to the south of Alder. Cover him. Oh, actually. Oh, it's really hard to make this balloon go forward without it being vulnerable to getting killed by the witch.
You have to be careful where you drop the mage too, since this is like a Valder mirror, because you need to watch out for Valder's play of spawning a sword and running it into your mages. That's the classic.
Alright, which front is he going to send these spears to? The way I see it, in very simple terms, if he sends them to the left, he's playing for a longer game. If he sends them to the right, he's playing for a shorter game.
I think he doesn't really have a choice. He needs to send them right. Otherwise, he's gonna lose the fight over there if he doesn't.
Yeah, that is also true.
And also, he's fighting like almost in range of the barracks and the tower. So anything that spawns has a potential to hit right afterwards. So, for example, Zeronix has a very strong knight option on his right barracks. Like if he spawns a knight, it can basically crit in front of the stronghold.
And there we
Well,
see. That's the decision he goes with. He goes to the right, like you were saying.
I think he might need another mage on the right, simply because there's 2 air units from Zeronix and he only has 1 mage. Yep, there we go.
The mage.
I think if I'm Zeronix, I spam balloons from this tower.
There's a lot of balloons on the map.
Balloons are pretty good.
Actually, I wonder if you could go like double balloon this turn. One for the thief. so it gets out safely. Like, I
Mm,
almost wonder if it's worth like Zeronix just using one sword to capture that village on the left and having the thief like run away with that as cover. And then like the other sword, you just run it away. So you just go into a complete retreat.
I think capturing the village is like decent. Like it's a decent option because basically you like sure your sword's gonna get damaged and you won't get to keep the village for a while. But it means the units on the left will be busy for more turns basically. You do lose a unit if you do that.
Yeah, but I think he's gonna lose units either way.
That's true. The sword doesn't really have a place to run, so capturing a village before dying is pretty good.
Yeah, and it means the thief gets out safely, so... I'm looking at the health here for various units. I think one of the mages could actually, I think you almost have to use this mage in the top left on the 5 health sword, simply because it can't hit anything else. And it's not really worth using it for heal this turn either, so...
Yeah, one of like the principles I go by when when armies are fighting is I move the units at the back first because they have less options. I'm thinking Night Balloon is a good buy here on the right for Zeronix.
Yeah, just a fast unit that would... Although there are spears. Actually, you could technically go, like... This is going to be a very me answer to this, but he could get an archer. Like, if he has enough stuff in front, then...
Yeah, I mean Archer is also a pretty good option. It covers the dog where that already attacked there.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, it would hit. And it's nice and safe behind that village, so...
Yep. It's basically gonna get a hit every turn, and it's easy to. Although it's not that easy to defend because Valder has a lot of reach. For example, if you put it on the like behind the village, Valder only has to stand. Like he can spawn a sword on the river tile right of the dog, and then move the sword up to hit the archer. So, you know.
For a moment, I was like, is he going to try and go for a lethal? But there really isn't a lethal here.
Oh yeah, I always forget to check stuff like that. Mainly there's not a lot of units that hit commanders hard here. I don't think the mage on the top left, well, in the middle top part, hits the sword because, you trade the mage for a sword. It's not very good. It really depends how he handles the rest of the fight. Okay, he goes for it anyways. Never mind me.
Yeah, because dog crit will kill this other sword, so... actually, a regular sword crit would kill that sword too. I don't know if he goes for it, but... Oh, he might.
Yeah, that's a pretty good option. There's still I was thinking, was there a way to to poke the mage with Wargroove, but I don't really see one now that these units have moved.
Yeah,
Although
you'd have
maybe
to have
there's
killed
still
the.
one. Maybe there's still one if you hex, but it's very complicated. I don't think it's worth going for. You can do more damage by hitting other stuff. And like if you go balloon in front and witch behind, then the mage can only kill the balloon. I think Zeronix is going to be able to defend this.
Yeah. If he wanted to poke the mage, he would have had to have had Valder drop a sword where that sword is. And then have it like run down to the right or above. I don't think that was gonna happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't see him having enough damage to kill the sword on the mountain.
The dog, yeah.
Oh,
Although there's
dog even, yeah.
no, you can't high roll the you can't high roll the sword with a hex to kill it. It's like 1% too high to to do that.
I guess like double sword crit, but like the issue there is you can't spawn a sword
Yeah, you
and crit
can't
the dog on
spawn
two
a
sides.
sword and crit from the same position and have the the sword cross the mountain. So I think here you just like sword crit the spear, and then you sword crit the 8 sword, and then like move the balloon one down, put the witch behind.
I guess you could hex, so the mage won't be able to kill a balloon, and
Oh,
then use the
that's a
balloon to
very
wall.
good point. But that does limit what you're able to buy. Like if you hex, you can't go balloon knight, like I was saying.
Yeah, and I guess what I think he wants a balloon at the top left. So
Mm, I
this is
mean,
very complicated for a turn 8, by the way. Just
yes. I think this might time out because they're just not building up a strong force at all. They're just trading it away constantly. Although, I mean, Commander might get trapped or something. We'll see. It's hard to predict how a game ends anyway.
yeah. I could see something like he kills the dog with sword crit and then puts a balloon on that mountain after hexing so the mage can't kill it.
But then the witch is exposed, right?
You can do it from where he's doing it
Oh
from
yeah,
now, I think.
never mind. Oh, but it didn't reach the mid.
Oh.
Oh well.
Well, I guess you put the balloon and wall anyway.
But then you expose your mage, so... I think there's a few things that could have been done better, but like that's really easy to say after the turn's over.
Yeah.
Like, it's also really easy to say as a spectator when you can see the end result of the turn at the end, and you're like, oh well, could have done a few things better. Even watching my own matches back, I just keep thinking, this could have been done better. Although this is pretty decent, unless there's a suicide from a sword into the mage, he shouldn't be able to die. And yeah, here comes a knight from Zeronix. It's very strong because Spacefront kind of has to move back towards the left of this blob if he wants to keep fighting, otherwise the knight will hit. I think he just has to back off here. He took too much damage. He's fighting near production. You might just want to send balloons so that you can capture the top left quickly, but Zeronix also has balloons to respond to anything you do. So it's a tough position for Spacefront.
And this, I think, is the cost of dedicating so much of your army to engaging on this right-hand side. As opposed to playing the longer game and sending those spears to the left and just sending everything back on the right.
Yeah. I guess when Valder went in so aggressively, it kind of was a mistake. And they are starting to run their timers low.
Yeah, I saw Emo joking about a turn 9 timeout, sorry. And it's it could actually happen. But I don't think we'll see a turn 9 one, but I think we'll definitely see this clock running pretty dang low. Sword lives on 2 health. That's kind of whatever. Yeah, Spear's just gonna come in and finish that off. And that's an okay sword crit. You're just trying to damage the mage as much as you can.
Rise from your grave.
Yeah, Spacefront probably didn't do as much damage as he wanted this turn. An important thing is that spear is gonna die, and the knight is gonna go uncontested, like besides Valder, but Valder might risk his life if he tries to hit a knight.
Harpy comes
Also,
out.
this mage might also die, which is another important aspect of this turn. Zeronix is if Zeronix has options for like immortal walls, he usually tries to go for them. Because you can never really go wrong with setting up a formation where, you know, your units don't die, basically. What do you build with 600? Well, almost 7. That's actually a frustrating amount of money.
Yeah, you can't go knight, sword. You could go like archer dog in theory, but he gets a spear.
Yeah, I think an archer from either side would have helped a lot.
On both sides, really, because it's so clustered, and like
Ooh,
there's
I'm
so
thinking
much.
Spacefront should have went thief on the left. I think that would have helped him quite a bit to take back the top left corner. Because like you only need swords at this point, But if you have a thief, it can kind of swing it back in your favor. Although he is running low on time, so he might be focusing on the right front exclusively. But yeah, Zeronix is gonna continue. I mean, he could even hex again. The mage took. The dog took a lot of damage.
It hit from an awkward side as well. Like it could have hit from the right, and that would have set up another dog to crit the mage. Also, hexing
I think-
after is
Yeah, I think he wants to like set up dog crits on the left side, that like that.
okay.
So that's why he did it in this order. A very strong attack. He can even spear crit the spear.
Yeah. Ooh, wow, that was a pretty devastating turn.
Yeah, this is looking pretty over.
Yeah, balloon just comes down to the right of Alder. This thief is. He just builds a balloon up on the top left this turn and runs the thief away.
I don't think you even have to. Just spend your money for the right front.
Or even build a wagon at the top. Because that. Nothing that comes out of that barracks is going to be very influential. Oh no, another mage comes out. This is
Yep,
a very
good
frustrating
to play.
time to capture the village. Because the sword isn't going to one-shot it, the mage won't one-shot it, the dog isn't going to one-shot it.
And you have to use 2 units to kill the sword. So I'm noticing, like, look at the side barracks. You see a small optimization Zeronix has been doing, but Spacefront hasn't. Is building the units on the like the side of the map. So it gives you the option to like cross the river and the tower and go downwards. And like for example, if Spacefront had built it on top of his barracks now, he could send a mage up and decamp this barracks this turn. But I mean, he probably intended to send the mage to the right anyway, so. But yeah, it's a small habit you should get into when playing this map. Unless you want to have a sword capture the hideout or something. Because the river makes it that it's rarely efficient to build on the right side.
Okay, for a moment, I thought he was actually going to try and kill the mage with Folder, and that would put him in a pretty vulnerable spot. But no, he decides.
Yeah, there's a few low units, so suicide's starting to become an option for lethal. But unit count actually not that different.
Yeah, well, Spacefront's won the left-hand side.
Well, yeah, but he still has to take the villages.
That's true. I mean, you just build a thief, though, and run it up. And there's nothing really stopping a thief. So, that is an option. I mean, he's got so little time, though. He's got 11 minutes left at the end of turn 10. And that's... I'm saying that assuming that he's going to finish this turn quickly.
I'm thinking it might almost be worth it to...
Oh, but he's just swinging this
to
army
trade.
back. There's actually a
Yeah.
lot of army here.
Yeah, it was looking a bit weak before because 2 mages were in that balloon. I'm thinking it's almost worth it to trade the wish for the harpy here. And then your knight is gonna just wreck everything.
This is so back and forth. Like, it's really hard to tell because, like, Zeronix looked like he was winning, but now there's just so much mage in that back line. And positionally, Spacefront's got a really good front with this army. And he's lost the left-hand side, and that thief is not getting to hand in that money anytime soon. I'm really not sure. Because, like, Spacefront won the left front with the army he had there, and now he's just gonna swing that army across to the right. And there's, like, barely anything here for Valder to fight with. Like, he's got an injured dog, an injured mage, and a full health dog, and that's all he can fight with this turn.
Well, you can heal like the mage and the dog, and then like you're still like next to your production. We could see an archer come out, and that would be like very defensive unit in this position, and like that kind of prevents any more fighting. The archer will deal well with every single unit here.
Okay, so Zeronix is setting up so gets a knight and a spear.
Gets another knight. That also works.
I wonder if he's gonna try and pick off the spear in the forest.
I don't think so. But it would cost too much to do that. I think you just retreat your current army and that's fine.
By my hand, rise.
I guess the dog also heals off that village. Yep.
Yep.
And then, like, the other dog just runs back as well.
Yeah, you can put it above the village or something. Or yeah, it gets above the village works. Ooh. Hang on, Valder could now Spacefront could run up Valder and spawn a sword to hit that mage. Not sure it's gonna be worth it to do that though.
I think there's a little bit too much. Like, if he runs Valder next to that forest tile, then there's a mage crit and a knight crit that could potentially hit him. If he goes further, then you're, like, asking to get surrounded. If he had more
mostly-
time, I would say you'd put a lot of that army in those balloons and you go left again, and you just swing and take a lot of you just put a lot of pressure on the left front again. But I don't think he can really do that. He just doesn't have the time to play a long game like that.
Yeah, and also Zeronix has managed to like create a situation where it's kind of the two armies stand off with a no man's land in between. So it's gonna be very hard to attack into
By
this,
my hand,
and
rise.
Spacefront has to attack because he's run his timer a little low.
Yeah.
Like the correct move, if you have time left, is to either go somewhere else or just hold this position for a while. He did make a thief, so he will be able to like get some of the top left villages back. But since he's low on time, not only does it make it makes him more prone to mistakes, I guess, because you spend less time on your turns.
And yeah, I'm seeing people in chat say Zero just needs to turtle and play for time. And that honestly might be the play. Like move just enough army to defend the left so it doesn't get crushed. Because like even someone who plays the game slowly could take the left hand side very quickly if they wanted to. Like you just throw a bunch of, you just build thieves and churn them out and capture a bunch of stuff. And play stalemate on the right hand side.
And defending is easier than attacking, especially if you want to like keep some part of your army alive, because you need to kill the HQ afterwards.
And you know, while we're talking about how Zeronix can just play as defensively, he also has the income lead right now as well, and has used the thief. So he has more money than his opponent.
Yep, that thief not gonna take any balloon, just gonna walk the old-fashioned way.
That would be hilarious if it makes it all the way back. It's like 1, 2... Only 3 turns actually. So
Well, it's
balloon
been
would only...
walking for like five turns now.
Let's see. So it captured from the right. Went up.
I know, just 4 turns. Okay.
1,
Only 4 turns of
2,
walking. Yeah.
3, 4, yeah.
And yeah, here comes the standoff. I think Zeronix could go Archer, he could go Golem. He has plenty of buys that would just make
Oh,
the
he
attack
goes
really
wagon?
tough.
I guess he's gonna try and get the thief back quicker. The wagon will get it there so it will cut 1 turn off. So he's gonna get the thief return 1 turn sooner because of that wagon.
That's a little cheeky, I'd say, because you're not planning for the thief to do anything afterwards, surely. Although if Spacefront's moving his units at that rate, maybe.
Oh, he builds an archer.
There we go. Archer kind of essential to pushing, I feel, and defending. Although maybe more for pushing. Because if you get walled while you're pushing, it's really bad.
And archers are the way you break walls in this game. Like, they open up. Because, like, the real struggle is if your opponent has, like, a wall that's only one side open, it's really hard to break that. But if you have an archer, you can hit a unit twice, and then suddenly that opens a gap in your opponent's formation. You can hit the second unit on 2 sides, and then the third unit on 2 sides. So one archer allows you to break a wall.
Yeah.
He's got to keep reinforcing this right-hand side.
But yeah, I think if Zeronix builds a golem, like this game is kind of over, I feel. And I mean, he will have the money to do it, so we might see that happen. Yeah, he's banked a little bit last turn, and then next turn he's gonna have the thief deposit, so he also has a small income lead. And I think it could be felt pretty hard by like for example, if you go double golem, for example, then there's no way to push into this.
I mean, the thing there is, if you drop 300 gold in the hideout, for example, your opponent's about to use their thief, so you're going to be down 300 gold.
Oh, that's true.
So, I guess the wagon kind of makes sense because it balances out the thief steals.
But you also spend 300 gold for the wagon.
Yeah, but I guess the wagon then comes in handy. It's a good defensive unit.
That's true.
And it will allow... Zeronix could, in theory, throw a knight over to the left-hand side with a couple of units and threaten the stronghold. And then, all of a sudden, the Spacefront has to panic and go, oh no, I need to, like, defend 2 fronts because I'm under pressure now. If Zeronix moves his knight left, then, like, as far as it will go, then he threatens stronghold with it.
I mean, Spacefront can just spawn like a balloon or a knight to defend the HQ. The knight alone isn't gonna threaten the HQ.
Yeah, but then it also threatens that 3 health village and threatens the units on the left-hand side. There's nothing on that left-hand side that deals with a knight. And even if he spawns something, it's also not going to be able to deal with the knight straight away. The golem comes out, very strong defensive unit. Great for this, like, formation here. It won't die to an archer plus another unit. Whereas, like, something like a spear will. A spear will die to archer plus dog.
Yeah, even wagon dies to archer and spear crit. But yeah, golem kinda the nail in the coffin, I guess.
People are talking about timers in chat. Someone just said it's fair to assume a player takes 5 minutes a turn. No? Like...
Yeah, these players are... I mean, Spacefront in particular is
I think there are plenty of players that can play at
pretty
something like
slow.
2 or 3 minutes a turn, even in situations like this.
Yeah, it's also part of the reason why when you watch your turns back, you're like, oh, this is not that good. It's because you were under timer pressure.
Yeah. There would have to be a big shift in the way maps are made for us to go back to doing 5-minute turn timers. looking at this just now. Yeah, you can put the witch in front of his stronghold, and that's nice and safe. I do think the knight should go to the left-hand side, along with a couple units. Just to threaten the opponent's stronghold and make him move his other stuff back.
I think I would agree if like the timers were a bit closer. Although Zeronix did spend quite a bit of time here, but
Oh, but here's the thing, is your opponent has to spend time thinking about how to defend, and all you've done is move a knight to the left, which can then come back. Because if you move it to the north of that bridge tile, for example, it still threatens the stronghold. And then your opponent, and it also still defends the right hand side, and even defends it more strongly because you have a knight crit set up to come back.
that's true. Knights can afford to go like in between and threaten both sides. That's their main selling point.
Yeah.
But it's looking like Zeronix is setting up for defense on this, like the edge of the map. I mean, Spacefront was looking like he was gonna like go by this village on the right, so makes a bit of sense. Alright, dragon comes out. Makes sense. Otherwise, you're like it's impossible to deal with the golem. I'll say it's a bit weird to be fighting where Zeronix is, because the terrain doesn't really favor you, and it's hard to retreat if you don't have balloons. He does have balloons, so it's not that big of a deal, but fighting with your back to the edge of the map isn't really comfortable. Well, with your back to a stronghold, neither, but
Oh, Spacefront's just gonna go in.
it's a pretty dangerous spot. Like, just potentially a lethal here, because Commander is next to a road and stuff like that. It's not in range of the golem, but I think the idea is whatever attacks Volder gets crit by the dragon in return. You do have to cover at least one side, I think, because otherwise it's gonna be pretty dangerous. He goes in with the spear.
Yeah, he's just gonna attack.
Yeah, I was thinking the knight next to Valder is a good option because it's Zeronix doesn't have spears, so he can't one-shot a knight. We could see stuff like potentially the witch goes around to kill the balloon, and then you open up a second side for the knight, but then you'd have to clear the spears beforehand without taking up a spot above the knight. And now that the dogs have moved in, this is looking a very strong offensive from Spacefront. He will take some damage though, so it's not like game is in his favor.
I think you can maybe kill Volder though.
Well, you do have two sides, a suicide from a sword. You have the 5 health mage,
Oh, but
maybe?
you've got suicide from the knight.
That too.
Um,
You've got a hex too, and Valder
Yeah.
can hit, and the knight can hit. These are still heavy hitters.
like I think you can do like witch, flies.
Actually,
Witch can hex, like you can hit the Volder and the mage. So that means a spear crit will kill that mage to the south of Volder.
I think, yeah, Valder's
Giant-
gonna die. 'Cause
yeah.
if you look, the knight on top can like crit the mage on the bottom. That would open up a
Oh,
side for the
that-
mage to hit from the bottom.
Oh, I didn't even think of that. I was thinking spears would crit that mage with a witch hex and then kill it.
I mean, I guess that way you kill the sword with the spear, and then you spear crit Valder.
Yeah, I mean you could also
Then you
kill
get
the sword
mage
with.
spear crit,
I was
and
thinking
then
you could
Valder
kill.
hit, and then like the suicides, the hex.
Yeah, I was thinking like Golem clears that sword.
That's true. It also works.
And then you have like Valder plus Knight plus Mage plus like you've got like a Knight Suicide in there as well.
On the left mage is gonna kill the harpy at least, I think.
So a very heated debate about timers going on in chat right now. But yeah, I think there's lethal here. Like, actually, even without the Knight Suicide, I think a Witch Hex, a Valder, a Mage, and a Knight hit would do it. How much does Spear
so,
Crit
like,
do?
Mage and Spear Crit would be like, so I'm calculating for rows and then like I put an asterisk for just saying also this is on planes. So that would be like 55 and then Valder would be like 100 on planes and then you get the Witch Hex and the Suicides. So it's looking pretty good.
Yeah, and if you do the Witch Hex first, then that's like more damage across the board.
But yeah, there's multiple ways of doing this, I think. Zeronix probably trying to find one that guarantees it, I guess. I do think regardless, like the mage will kill the harpy. Like the one mage on the left, the full health one.
Okay. Obvious thing hits first, right? Like,
Yeah.
oh wow, you
it's
could
like,
suicide a mage as well as the knight. Yeah, he's gonna go for it. Yeah, we're definitely gonna see the suicides come in. This knight's gonna suicide next.
in these type of
83.
situations, you sometimes need to open the calculator for like the second suicides to know if you can hex first.
I actually think you only need to hit on 2 sides at this point to even kill.
Well, he does have 3, so.
Alright, he's
Why
okay. He's
He's
gonna clear
doing
this
my
way.
way.
Yeah, he's going your way.
Nice. Yeah, this is.
There's a
He can't
dog
slow
or
roll
a
this
mage if he
anymore.
wants. Yeah, mage hits.
Yeah.
Boulder
20
finishes.
damage over it. Overkill, let's say. Yeah, good game.
Good game. Wow,
GG.
perfectly even score at the end. Zeronix goes up. Game 1. And just well played. I mean, Spacefront was taking a lot of time on his early turns. And that's what happens, like, if you play slow in the early game. Because I think there's this trap people fall into where they see they have 45 minutes. Like, okay, whatever, I have 45 minutes, I can take a bit of time on these earlier turns. But if you do that and then mid-game you get walled, or you're taking fights that aren't working out as well, then you get into a position where it's kind of like reset back to like a neutral position where you aren't able to finish the game quickly. And that's when you...
Actually, a funny thought occurred to me. I played both of these players, and both of them told me after we played, "Oh yeah, I spent too much time on the early turns." So that's pretty funny. On this map specifically too.